Bangkok is the political and cultural center of Thailand. It's a sprawling and chaotic metropolis of 6 million people that has a life and energy that provides a vibrant backdrop for the start of this month-long global adventure.
I think this city is amazing. One of the best experiences right now is getting in a tuk-tuk. It's this kind of crazy car.
It was something very special to come here because first there's this kind of very nice monument, and after there's all the culture which is really special to Asia.
I saw it on a map and it didn't look that impressive, but as soon as I arrived here it took my breath away.
The challenge is a global multi-sport adventure involving mountain biking, kayaking, climbing, abseiling, running and 4x4 driving, all combined with navigation, problem solving and strategic planning. After the urban competition in Bangkok, the challenge stays in Southeast Asia for 2 weeks, traveling through the jungles of Laos to complete stages 1 and 2. It then relocates to South America for stages 3 and 4, with an event on the golden sands of Copacabana Beach in Brazil's Rio de Janeiro, followed by 2 grueling weeks in the rugged terrain of Bolivia. At the end of the month-long event, one competitor will win the challenge title and get to take home a brand new Range Rover. There are 3 essential elements that the competitors require on the challenge: a vehicle, a team partner, and some kit.
We are checking all the equipment that we're going to be using in the competition. We have to be responsible for everything that we're going to be using. I feel very confident that everything is done right.
Since the final 18 were decided at international selections, there's been a change to the lineup. Lambros Agiris from Greece has pulled out due to personal commitments and has been replaced by reserve Michael Tsoudas.
I had only 2 weeks to get prepared. I think I will start to believe it after a few days.
One of the challenge favourites, Tom Landon-Smith of Australia, has arrived in Bangkok with an injury that could force him out of the competition.
Yeah, I cut my foot about 2 weeks ago. I've still got 15 stitches in there. The doctor's going to take them out tomorrow and make me run, see if it rips my foot apart, and if it does, I'm going home.
The competitors are already ranked from 1 to 18, based on points gathered at international selections. Marco from Italy is the first to wear the leader's yellow jersey. Disappointment for Aussie Tom, his foot hasn't healed in time, and he's replaced by reserve Alina McMaster, who also happens to be his wife. Brian from the UK is in 7th position, Jean-Baptiste from France in 10th, Gary from Ireland in 14th, and rounding out the 18 is Dimitri from Russia. The competitors will complete each stage of the challenge paired together to form 9 binational teams. Partnerships are determined through a selection process whereby the competitors with the 8 lowest scores choose their teammate from those ranked in the top 10. With first pick from 11th place, Thijs from the Netherlands picked Martin from South Africa. 51-year-old Takashi of Japan selected Claribet from Costa Rica. An all-female combination with Eleonora from Brazil picking Alina from Australia. Surprisingly, Marco, the yellow jersey holder, was not picked by anyone in the bottom 8. The competition in Sanam Luang Park requires a range of skills. After a short, sharp mountain bike dash, the competitors pull a vehicle from a container. One of the team then kayaks through the air before directing their partner over a log balance beam. A tuk-tuk blocks the vehicle's path, which the team must raise using a ratchet and pulley system before one of them can complete the technical driving course. The drivers must then swap before maneuvering the vehicle's front wheels onto an ox cart. Utilizing the 4x4 driving skills learned in training, they must find the balance point to tip the cart and drive off the other side. Finally, it's a quick sprint to the finish, where the first team to ignite the flare with both members on the platform is the winner. The first heat was won by the Italy-Taiwan combination of Marco and Victor. In Heat 2, victory went to Michael and Dimitri from the Greece-Russia team after the disqualification of Pablo and Chris from Argentina-Belgium for an incorrect finish.
3, 2, 1.
Despite incurring a 5-second penalty, the third team through to the final was Brian and Robert from UK-Germany. As the temperature rose to a stifling 39 degrees, the finalists prepared themselves for a chance to get off to the best possible start for the challenge. All 3 teams get off to a great start. Dimitri hits the kayak section first, with Marco not far behind. With Robert catching up in the kayak, Brian grabs the advantage by attacking the driving by himself. Victor and Marco struggle with communication on the driving, which leaves the Greece, Russia and UK-Germany pairings locked in a ferocious battle for the lead. Dimitri and Michael take a slight advantage out of the winching section, so now it's all down to the technical driving. Having suffered a penalty in the heats, Brian and Robert must be careful not to push too hard. Robert is first to get his wheels onto the ox cart, with Michael just behind. Michael takes a slender lead on the drive, with Robert a little tentative after the penalty in the heats. Michael and Dimitri are first to the sprint, with Brian and Robert hot on their heels. Basically, it's down to which team can climb the fastest.
And we have a winner! Chris Garcia.
Michael, you've won the final. Talk me through how it went.
We had a fantastic cooperation. We did the first time, so we knew what we should do. We did it very good on the second time. So we won and we're very happy with it. It's an excellent start. We couldn't dream of anything better.
With no chance to rest after the explosive start in Bangkok, it's time for the competitors and crew to pack up and ship out. The 60-vehicle challenge convoy heads north through Thailand to Khon Kien for the first night's camp, before crossing the Mekong River into Laos for the start of 4 days of remote competition. Stage 1 then reaches its climax in the Lao capital of Vientiane. In the Lao language, Sabadi means hello, so it was fitting that the first compulsory event on the first day in Laos was named Sabadi Pinnacles.
This event is Sabadi Pinnacles. We've got to drive around a pretty little intense course, just negotiating between some close markers. Then we're going to run up onto the top of the pinnacles. We have to use some ropes and via ferrata to get there. And abseil off, run back here, another driving course.
It was not easy to find the way up here because there was no road on the map, but we managed to get here, and that's already important. It's good for the confidence.
How is the partnership going?
Takashi and me, I think we're doing a great job together. I know we're doing a great job.
To the left of that, and you're going to go tight around.
Yeah, this was our first event, the compulsory, so we thought we hit it first, but unfortunately we dropped Gregory the top of the climb for the abseil down, so I'm sure we're going to get penalised for that, so we'll have to go back to camp tonight and find out what the penalty is.
During the course of the challenge, the teams compete in strategy pit competitions. The binational team that wins the strategy pit earns the right to leave camp first for the remaining days of that stage. Each subsequent team must then wait 4 minutes following the departure of the previous ranked team.
Okay.
Well done. You can go straight away.
Okay.
After a long day full of both excitement and frustration, the exhausted competitors have a chance to rest and grab some boil in the bag for dinner around the communal campfire.
Are you thinking already about next week's selections?
Of course, always it's about thinking who's going to be your next partner. It's about building relationships and just get along with everyone.
The teams awake in the dark early hours and are briefed on the day's events. For some, it's the chance to reflect on the event so far and look forward to the rest of the challenge.
Yeah, I had a good night's sleep in the jungle with all the crickets and leeches also.
How is the experience of the G4 challenge building from day to day?
Just great. Every day is better than the previous one.
Working with Claudia has been just such a delight every day. She's been driving a lot and I've been doing most of the navigation, so our combination has been just flawless.
The teams are preparing themselves for the challenge's most spectacular event so far, a head-to-head team kayak race through a 7-kilometer underground stretch of the Nam Hin River. It was a chaotic start, with all 18 setting off at the same time. The competitors paddled furiously as they headed into the pitch blackness of the Konglor cave. Once inside the cave, they were passing rocks like limestone icebergs, vast overhead caverns and cascades of water. The members of each team must stay together at all times and navigate their way through rapid, narrow stretches and shallows requiring portage. After more than an hour, there was light at the end of the tunnel as the leading teams emerged below a dramatic mountain into the Emerald Lagoon. Jean-Baptiste and Gabriel emerged from the cave as the leaders, with Alina and Nora and Martin and Thijs right behind them. It's now a sprint to the finish. Gabriel seems to be going backwards, to Jean-Baptiste's obvious frustration. By mistake or design, Nora manages to somehow get herself tangled up with Martin and Thijs. This allows Alina to get the advantage close to the finish. Alina is out of her kayak first, with Martin and Tice just behind. Nora manages to catch up and sneaks past to make it a victory for the girls. The remainder of the teams appeared from the cave and had a leisurely paddle to the finish.
Into the cave, serene silence, only the pedals flipping and people calling to each other. And then all of a sudden there was light, and then we had to race to here. It's good.
Planning the daily route for each team is a test of communication and teamwork, as the pairings determine which optional competitions to complete based on their combined strengths and weaknesses. Getting around between competition sites can be a frustrating and time-consuming part of the day for the competitors. Some teams have found navigating around the jungles and tracks quite difficult and have failed to make competition sites simply because they can't find them. On the final day of each stage of the challenge, the binational teams cease to exist and all 18 competitors go head-to-head in the stage final. This individual competition provides the competitors with the opportunity to improve their own score and climb up the rankings.
3, 2, 1, go!
The Stage 1 final requires the competitors to abseil from a bridge into their kayaks waiting on the river below. Once in the kayak, they must dip in at 5 location markers. It's no real surprise that it's the strong kayakers, Martin Drea and Jean-Baptiste, who begin to pull away from the rest of the field. The first half of this final really favours the aquatic athletes among the competitors. Then it's a swim across the widest part of the river, complete with running shoes and buoyancy vests. Martin and Jean-Baptiste gain a lead that looks as if no amount of orienteering expertise can pull back. The competitors must find 5 location markers on foot using their GPS. Then it's onto mountain biking to find 5 more points, and to finish, a short, intense driving course.
Talk me through that race.
That was really exciting. Being the first individual event, we had a kayak and Jean-Baptiste got ahead of me and we were just chasing each other like a cat and a dog. And he was ahead of me all the way till the vehicles, and I was very fortunate to jump in my car first and get onto the 4x4 course.
The final was not without a controversial climax. Jean-Baptiste of France felt he was disadvantaged by the positioning of his vehicle compared to Martin's in the final transition area.
Martin was behind me, look at the points, just follow me in orienteering. And his car was here, and my car was here. So it takes me time by foot to go here, take my car, and to come back here. It's not fair, that's all.
After a quick dip in the river, the fiery Frenchman cooled down and shook hands with the new yellow jersey holder, Martin Dreyer. Dimitri from Russia is in 2nd place with Jean-Baptiste in 3rd. Alina from Australia is in 7th position. Chris from Belgium holds down 12th spot. Claribet from Costa Rica is in 14th. And after their disastrous week, Marco and Victor are in 17th and 18th. Stage 2 of the challenge begins here in the Lao capital of Vientiane, with a short convoy to the first compulsory competition on the banks of the mighty Mekong River. The competitors have relinquished their Stage 1 partners and have selected new partners for this week. Nora from Brazil reselected Stage 1 partner Alina. Chris of Belgium partners Dimitri from Russia. Yellow jersey holder Martin was selected by Takashi of Japan, and there should be no communication problems for Spanish-speaking duo Claribet from Costa Rica and Gabriel from Spain.
I have seen him working in the first stage, so I know that he's doing good. And since we're speaking the same language, it'll be easier for us.
We're getting kind of nervous. We're starting to plan everything. It's also a new adventure to get to know another person, so it's going to be fun.
Last night, Tuck and I had a bonding session. We talked some strategy and we worked out a system that we think is more efficient for both of us. So I'm hoping that we might even be top 3.
You will run to retrieve 3 sets of equipment: kayak, tires, and jerry cans.
They can deliver the items in any order, so this is where the obvious strategy comes into play.
Teams ready?
Most of the teams sprint to collect the tires first. Dimitri and Chris show their power from the start and have already created a gap between themselves and the rest of the teams. Most of the partnerships decide to carry their tyres in or alongside their kayaks in order to avoid two exhausting 500-yard sprints. Dimitri and Chris drop the tyre off first before returning to collect the kayak and then the jerry can. Despite both Martin and Takashi carrying slight injuries, they are performing strongly, with Gary and Tice right alongside them. Dimitri and Chris are the first to hit the slalom driving course. Gary and Tice move into second place from Martin and Takashi. A smooth driver changeover, and it's a short sprint to record an intimidating victory.
Dimitri and Chris, it's a daft question, but are you pleased with that result?
We're
Well done.
thinking about already. We were a little nervous because we knew we could win this. We're more or less equal physically, and so I think we will be a great team this week.
Yeah, I hope.
The challenge now heads northwest along the Mekong River before heading into the dense jungle terrain and hardwood forests. It then winds its way to Vang Vieng before continuing through the huge limestone peaks of the Annamite Mountains to Luang Prabang for the all-important stage final. The first strategy pit competition involves the teams retrieving their dibbers from under a log using the winching equipment from their vehicles, 3 poles and some rope. The first team to dib in at the finish earns the right to the earliest departure from camp.
If you're first, you leave on the dot on 7 o'clock. If you're second, you leave 4 minutes later, and so on, down to the 9th team. It was a timed event, and so it was quite a pressure situation, and we got a 3rd place, so we're very happy about that.
Our strategy was to build one tripod to hold it with one winch, and to winch up the lock with another winch, and it worked out.
The Paddy Dash competition was originally planned as a short technical driving course through a series of gates, but with the deteriorating conditions, it was quickly renamed Paddy Splash.
And you lose your speed, then you're gonna get stuck.
This event underlines the importance of strategy pit competitions, which provides the early leavers with first go at competitions. The first few teams successfully complete the course. For the rest, the challenge becomes keeping the vehicles moving in the mud and deep pools of water.
We just got our car stuck. We were in some ruts, went too slow around the corner, and just lost momentum. In this event, you got to keep momentum up. So that is a mistake.
Teams are allowed to enroll the help of the locals to assist them with their stricken vehicles. The Italy-Turkey pairing found another way of turning what was supposed to be a simple driving course into a frustrating and time-consuming exercise. While trying to push the vehicle out of the mud, Marco dropped his partner's dibber.
Tolga, can I just ask you what happened there?
My teammate falling onto my dibber over there. When he went out, and he didn't carry our dibbers very well. And we finished now.
Has it badly affected your time?
Yeah, like 3 minutes.
If a team loses either or both of their dibbers, they can lose the whole day's points, which would seriously dent their chance of making the top 4 at the end of the challenge.
Brian, what is the skill to be had here?
Because obviously the paddy field's very wet, and as soon as you start putting some lock on and putting your foot on the power, the electronics will think that you're sliding and losing control, which is exactly what you're doing, but you want to do that. And the car will try and correct you and make sure that it doesn't sort of become unstable. That's the last thing you want to happen. But it looks like there are a couple of spaces where you may just get stuck, and in fact they're really struggling now.
Robert and Michael suffered badly and lost over an hour out of their day after having to be winched out twice.
We're enjoying it still. As soon as we will be able to leave this competition in 10 minutes, it will be okay. Well, the locals were of good help. We've done the hard part, so I think we can go now. A lot of mud, yeah?
The ferry kayak compulsory competition combines mountain biking, running, a zip line into the flowing river, swimming, and kayaking to finish.
We are really tired from today because we go very hard to have a lot of points this morning on running and mountain biking, and Pablo is really tired. I start to be also tired, so it's going to be hard for us, but I can expect something not bad. 5 or 4 or 3 can be good.
Dimitri and Chris are continuing to show incredible form, completing 5 competitions and producing the fastest time in nearly all of these. With the rain and dark clouds drifting away and the return of blazing sunshine and steamy conditions, many of the pairings chose to complete the technical driving competition to avoid the more physical activities. With one team member navigating and directing, the teams must negotiate a technical off-road course and drive both front wheels over the strategically located orange discs.
So we had to go uphill and we have to pass on with our wheels on some discs. So it was a little bit technical, but it was good, fun.
We haven't done many of the driving activities. We've been kind of missing those a little. So this is our first one, and some of the others we've heard have been pretty horrendous and taken a lot longer, but this seems to be pretty good, so we're happy with that.
For this compulsory competition, the competitors start seated in their vehicles. First, they must drop their ignition key into a basket. From there, they follow instructions that lead them to 3 huts in the paddy field. Located in the huts are pictures of vehicle components that the teams must remove and place in another basket.
Here.
Come on, it's okay. They are 14 release and under the bonnet, and I took the wrong one. I had to put it back and get the other one, and we lost a lot of time.
I think pictures was very easy. I don't know what's happened. Maybe Chris was a little bit nervous, but don't worry. 5th place, it's normal, in the middle of the rank.
Harry Falls is a problem-solving special task competition. The teams are provided with some bamboo, a machete and some rope and must construct a freestanding method to fill a water bucket.
Stage 2 is much more harder than stage 1. It got a really hard task every day. We feel a little bit exhausted, all of us, and you can see it because every night they sleep and they just want to be ready for the next day.
Stage 2 with Marco, absolutely good for us. We did some faults, it doesn't matter, team faults, let's say. We are happy, we are here in the challenge. I'm not sure, we are in a good position for the week, but I'm not happy for the score, but I'm happy for the enjoyment.
The Stage 2 final takes place below a dramatic 300-metre-high limestone rock face. The competitors' nerves are obvious before the start of this all-important individual event. The final is held over 3 heats, with team members competing directly against their team partners. The fastest time out of all 3 heats is the winner. The competitors must traverse a rope across the river. Then it's a kayak upstream against the current, followed by a mountain bike course, and then finally an exhausting run on some soft sand. The first heat was won by Alina from Australia with a blistering performance to beat Brian from the UK.
Talk me through that.
I can't. Really like to get to the final, the top 4. I think it'd be fantastic to have a girl up there in the final competition. So yeah, I just hope I did do enough. I mean, I obviously did well in that heat. I won that heat, but it's all based on time.
Brian, did that go to plan?
I just wanted to get through it. Felt absolutely shocking before the start. Got the shakes, got the shivers, just no energy. Alina was just superb. Just gave me something to aim at. I'm glad she was out in front.
The second heat saw Marco of Italy take victory over Robert from Germany.
Marco, how hard was that?
First part was killing me. Second one, I'm not a good kayaker, so it was really hard to paddle for me. The running up here, it was unbelievable. Difficult, really difficult.
During the race here, you're really on the limit and it's borderline. Maybe you enjoy it afterwards, yeah, when you pass it through in your mind, but yeah, at the moment it was just hard.
The The third heat and entire stage final was won by Martin of South Africa, with another tough head-to-head battle with Jean-Baptiste of France.
Such a short course, but so fast. And soft sand, steep uphills, and pedaling against the current. All things which you don't normally do if you're trying to go fast. Just made it tough. And I had a Frenchman chase me and I could smell him, he was close.
Do you think you guys could do this for another 2 weeks after this? I mean, what is this doing to your mind?
In my mind, it's the best. I have 2 weeks now to be more stronger than him. But it's too short, probably. But he's very strong, I'm not able to follow him.
After a very strong stage 2, Dimitri from Russia has taken over the yellow jersey from Martin, who slips to second. Chris has leapfrogged most of the field to take up third spot. Tice continues to show strong form in 5th position, with Alina moving 1 spot closer to the final 4. Gary from Ireland drops back into 10th position. Michael from Greece took the biggest fall in this stage, tumbling from 4th to 14th. Brazil's Rio de Janeiro is one of the most beautiful cities in the world. From the Cristo Redentor and Sugarloaf Mountain to the golden sands of Copacabana Beach, it's the perfect location for the start of Stage 3 and the South American leg of this month-long global challenge.
I need to do my best and lift my ranking in the Stage 3. So choice of good teammates for me is very important.
We'll have like 5 minutes just to fix out how are we gonna do things and just do it.
You are on the edge of being in the top 4. How nervous are you?
I'm actually quite nervous at the moment. There's the top 4 that are way out there, and they're obviously ideal people to pick. You know, I'm kind of in that middle bit, and I just got no idea who's going to pick me. So yeah, I'm a bit nervous.
So I would choose Martin. I think it would be an honor to be with him.
We're going for Chris.
Chris from Belgium with Brian from the UK. Michael, choice is all yours.
I'm gonna take Alina because I want to make my wife jealous.
Oh! Jean-Baptiste.
Claribet from Costa Rica selected 4th place Jean-Baptiste of France. Marco from Italy partners Tice from the Netherlands. Victor from Taiwan picks Gabrielle from Spain, which left Gary from Ireland paired with Takashi from Japan.
Victor from Taiwan.
The competition here on Copacabana Beach starts with a quick zip line from a lifeguard tower to the sand. The teams must collect a kayak before starting the vehicle for the first section of the technical driving course. Once across, the partners swap and then complete a second section. Another swap of drivers for a third section, where they maneuver the vehicles onto a specialized surf rescue buggy that's controlled by using reverse gear to go forwards. Then it's into the famous waters for a swim to collect a buoy positioned just beyond the breaking waves. Back onto the shore through the crashing surf to complete the driving course once again. One team member must climb the rope back up to the tower as the other makes a quick sprint back down the beach and returns. The first to have both team members on the tower goes through to the final. The first heat was won by the Australia-Greece pairing of Alina and Michael. Victory in Heat 2 went to Martin of South Africa and hometown girl Nora. The last heat saw yellow jersey holder Dimitri of Russia and Tolga from Turkey go through to the final.
Today's event is the first time that vehicular activity has ever been allowed on Copacabana Beach. The specifically designed driving course ensures that the vehicle's tyres do not touch the sand at any point during the competition, which leaves the famous beach in pristine condition.
You couldn't have assembled a more exciting cast for the final of this spectacular urban event. The current yellow jersey holder against the man he took it from. Former partners Alina and Nora going head-to-head for the first time, and an extremely vocal Brazilian crowd screaming for the local girl. Dimitri sprints into an early lead with Martin close behind. Alina and Michael take a tumble carrying the kayak and lose valuable seconds. All 3 teams are neck and neck as they hit the first driving section. They swap drivers, and again, all 3 are dead level as they cross the moving platforms. Australia-Greece take a short lead on the surf buggy, which allows Alina to enter the surf first, closely followed by Tolga, then Martin. Alina is first to grab her buoy, but as they hit the waves, Martin catches the top of a breaker and gets a free ride into the shallows, which gives his team the lead, heading back into the driving.
Great job, guys!
With Tolga struggling in the surf, it's now a head-to-head battle for first between Martin and Nora and Alina and Michael. The girls hit the final sprint with only meters separating the former stage 1 and 2 partners.
Nora, how does that rate as an experience? Tell me what your feelings are.
Winning this competition here in Brazil, like with all for the local people cheering for you, is just amazing. I'm just feeling great.
After sampling the beach life of Rio de Janeiro, Stage 3 now relocates to Santa Cruz in the lowlands of Bolivia. As the challenge starts its climb towards Sucre, the vegetation becomes sparse and the competitors are presented with the dramatic, vast open landscapes of the Andes. Stage 3 concludes with what promises to be a spectacular stage final. In this part of Bolivia, the teams have to contend with high winds and desert-like surrounds as the third week of competition gets underway.
It's going to be a driving competition, and we got to go through 20 gates. It's a time circuit. It's a sandy, as you can see, yes, in Copacabana.
We take off some weight from the car because it's very sandy and we don't want to be stuck in the middle of the beach. So we'll try to be as light as possible.
Despite their best efforts in lightening their vehicles, many of the teams fell victim to the sandy driving course.
I put too much power and I stuck the car in a backwards.
No, but we windchilled really fast and we were great.
Yeah, we got a bit stuck on that. The far reaches up there. It was really boggy, and we tried lots of self-recovery techniques, digging with the spade and just trying to get all the sand out. But it was so well bellied, there was no chance we could get underneath to get all the sand out.
For this compulsory competition, the competitors had a chance to exchange their four-wheel drive vehicles for the four-hoofed variety.
This is called Puddles Rodeo. It's orienteering on horseback, so something different.
Have you ever done anything like this before?
I worked in Colorado for a while as a cowboy, but I think it's a new experience for TAC.
I've never ridden any horses before, so I hope the horse understands my English.
We're gonna ride on the horses, and we're gonna find with the GPS on the points, and then after we'll finish, hopefully without fall from the horse.
Nora, are you a good horse rider?
I used to have a farm, so I think I would be all right with the horse.
And what about Martin? Is he an expert at this?
He's not an expert, but he's gonna be fine. He's do well everything that he does, so I think he's gonna be really well.
Horses, and me 25 years ago, I had my first horse riding lesson, and it ended about then as well.
The Sketchy Bridge compulsory competition is named after the somewhat dubious condition of a footbridge that spans the gorge above the Rio Pire River. The bridge is the only access for competitors to get to the markers located on the other side of the river.
At first I didn't know why they called it Sketchy Bridge until I started running across it. What happens is you start bouncing and the bridge starts also bouncing, so it's quite an adventure.
The competition involves abseiling, dewmaring, kayaking, running and GPS navigation. There are 8 location markers that the teams must visit, which can be divided up and visited separately. The time from each team member will be added together to give a total team time.
We can split, so she's going to do some points, I'm going to do other points. For the moment I'm a little bit sick with my stomach and I'm cold, I don't want to go in the water.
It's quite tricky because only one person has to go to each point, so you don't want to duplicate anything. So I think I'm going to just head off and go and do the kayaking.
So we shared. Pablo went to kayaking, climbing, abseiling, and I went for the run. Don't care what the bridge is safe or unsafe or whatever, just run and finish.
The desolate and unforgiving landscape also served as the backdrop for one of the most exhilarating team competitions so far in the challenge. Downhill madness is exactly what the name implies. Madness. Chris and Jean-Baptiste break away quickly, building a gap between themselves and the rest of the field. A smart plan, as the dust they are creating could slow the competitors trailing them due to lack of vision. The first to receive a puncture was Gary from Ireland. He was quick to repair it and get back on the track. Further down the rocky road, it was Alina's turn to make repairs.
My pump didn't work, so I just had to run down a bit to get someone's pump. So I had to run with the bike for a little bit. Okay.
Chris was in front of me, stayed in front of me, and it was hard because we know with the dirt, and I know that I have to go in front, not to have the dirt. So I passed him, and after the second one just right now.
Brian! How good was that? I think it turned out to be a race of attrition, really. I earned about 6th or 7th place, but there were just so many people falling by the wayside.
With 2 flat tyres and a smile on his face, Tolga was cheered into the finish by the rest of the competitors.
At the very first beginning, in 1 kilometer or 2 kilometers, I lost 2 of them and came down here with 2 punctures.
The Stage 3 final is the last opportunity for the competitors to gain some valuable individual points before they head into the final week of competition. For some, it's the chance to edge closer to the top 4. For others, it's an opportunity to gain a tactical position for the Stage 4 partner selections. Dimitri is first to gain control and Jumar back up the rope. Then it's onto his mountain bike with Jean-Baptiste in hot pursuit. Alina is third off the bridge, closely followed by Brian. After dumping their mountain bikes, it's a quick dash across the sand flat to the river's edge, where Dimitri and Jean-Baptiste are neck and neck heading into the kayak section. Jean-Baptiste is quicker into his kayak, but after some trouble fitting his spray deck, it's Dimitri who's first into the fast-flowing river. Brian has moved into third and is closing the gap on the more experienced kayaker Jean-Baptiste. As they hit the slower, deeper water, Dimitri has opened up a handy lead as Alina joins Brian and JB in the battle for second place. Dimitri is first out of the kayak and leads the short sprint up to the bridge with JB right on his tail. Brian from the UK is out in third with Alina just behind him. It's now all about keeping their feet and making it to the finish.
How was that race for you?
Amazing. I knew that Jumaring is my best chance to have a little gap. And I did. I'm first.
Dimitri from Russia retains the yellow jersey heading into stage 4 with a slight lead over Martin of South Africa. Eleanor from Brazil jumped from 11th to 5th. Alina continues to keep pace with the top 4, sitting in 6th position. Brian from the UK has moved up to 7th spot. Dutchman Thijs has slipped to 10th, with Gary from Ireland in 13th. And the battle for last place is heating up with only 6 points separating the bottom 3 places. Stage 4 starts with the competitors and crew embarking on a 60-vehicle convoy that takes them from Sucre through the Andes and deeper into the Bolivian Alto Plano. The convoy travels the stunning mountain road through Potosi, which at 4,100 meters is the highest city in the world. It then heads into the barren high desert where settlements are few and far between and humans are outnumbered by llamas. It was a surprise then when the entire village of Tika Tika turned out to welcome the challenge with a street festival of traditional music and costumes. As the convoy arrives for the stage start competition on the Salar de Uyuni, the beauty of the stunning white is revealed for the first time. The Salar de Uyuni is the world's largest salt flat and sits at an incredible 4,000 meters above sea level.
I didn't expect for this place to be so beautiful. It's incredible.
It's just unbelievable. I'm used to seeing something really white. I go skiing, so the whiteness of the snow-capped mountains. I go to the beaches and I see white sand of the beaches against the blue sky, but nothing compares to this.
Pablo from Argentina had first choice and selected Martin from South Africa. Takashi of Japan picked yellow jersey holder Dmitry of Russia. And whether it was the current top four's influence over the rest of the group or sheer coincidence, Nora and Alina were not selected by anyone. Being paired together for the final stage now makes it increasingly difficult for either to enter the top four. At heights above 2,500 meters, the atmosphere is so starved of oxygen that the human body has to fight hard to acclimatize. Thijs from the Netherlands and Robert from Germany are both suffering from the effects of altitude sickness. The remaining competitors took a vote and decided their partners, Victor from Taiwan and Gabriel from Spain, would be allowed to participate in today's competition, but would receive no points. The stage start competition begins with teams splitting in two. One taking on a grueling 10-kilometer bike ride across the crisp white salt to collect the team's two dibbers. The other scrambles onto a cacti-covered island to study a map of the other islands that the teams must visit and dib in at the locations. Chris, Dmitry, Alina and Tolga are performing strongly for their teams as they reach the dibbers. Nora is first to scurry off the island, closely followed by Jean-Baptiste and Martin. The teams then meet up before heading out into the white abyss of the salt flat to find the 5 location markers.
Right. First one is there. There's this big island, yeah. All right, now you can dip for both of them.
Alina and Nora are first out onto the salt flat, with Martin and Pablo close behind. The Salar is used as Bolivia's largest motorway, providing the locals with a route to the countries of Chile and Argentina. Each year the Salar floods, renewing this wondrous natural phenomenon. The all-girl team are taking it steady, being sure not to make any mistakes.
Let's go, my friend. Finish.
At the last location marker, Martin and Pablo are right on the girls' tail. The teams are limited to driving at 60 miles an hour, so it's going to be hard for the guys to make up ground on the leaders.
Stop.
The girls are out of the car fast to ensure they record a well-deserved stage start victory.
It's unreal. It is unbelievable. I mean, we're here on the Salt Lake and we've just done really well. You know, we didn't make any mistakes. We're going to have a fantastic week. This is our opportunity to just move up there and get in.
What has happened?
I lost one debut key. We are finished. And what about next competitions?
You need a key, eh? We're supposed to go find it.
It's not necessary to have two dibbers.
Yeah.
The rule says only one person has to dibber. Sorry.
The rules say you collect both dibbers and the ignition key from the defender. The other dibber key is still on the defender.
Can you tell me what has happened? Well, there's 2 dibber keys, both Dimitri's and mine. One dibber key is still there on the defender. Well, if you don't go and get it, that means we are last. We're going to be last. Take it easy.
After the awesome stage start on the Salar de Uyuni, the challenge continues its journey through the rugged Bolivian landscape with 4 days of breathless competition before culminating in the top 4 battle of the challenge final.
Good luck.
The Akita Wall competition is a Jumaring and abseiling event. The teams must visit all 6 location markers planted high on the rock wall. Brian from the UK and Marco from Italy have started the competition just after Martin from South Africa and Argentinian partner Pablo. Both Brian and Marco excel with rope disciplines and are performing strongly, which is vital if Brian stands a chance to make the top 4 and compete in the challenge final.
How was that one?
It was tiring. Just trying to keep safety in my head at all times.
Is it pleasant to overtake Martin Drea and Pablo?
Yeah, I guess it looked like Pablo was just tiring a bit. And Martin's so far in front, I'm not really overtaking him, but yeah, more points in front of a strong team is good.
The Stage 4 final is the last individual competition before the challenge final. For the competitors who still have a chance to make the top 4, it is important to finish as high as possible to gain the necessary points to guarantee a shot at winning the title. For those out of contention, it's simply an opportunity to prove themselves one last time and gain a higher final placing. This stage final is a punishing elimination competition in which the competitors must mountain bike and run through an oven-hot valley with 200-meter-high sandstone walls. The final 3 of each round are eliminated until we have only 3 remaining to battle it out for the highest individual points. With Dimitri in 4th place and therefore out, the final 3 in the stage final are once again Martin, Jean-Baptiste and Chris. Chris once again proves that he is a powerful competitor in high-altitude conditions. And with Martin and JB slowing down knowing they have secured top 3 points, Chris cruises to a comfortable victory. After 4 weeks of exhaustive competition across 4 countries and 2 continents, unfortunately for 14 of the competitors, their ultimate global adventure is over. For the final 4 competitors, it is now a nervous wait to find out their final ranking and points. Each point they're behind the leader is converted to a 1-second handicap. The tension is building as the competitors prepare for the challenge final.
In 4th place is Jean-Baptiste from France with 643 points. In 3rd place with 694 points is Dimitri from Russia. In 2nd place with 709 points is Chris from Belgium. Well done. And leading at the end of the 4 stages with 749 points is Martin from South Africa. Well done.
Sí, correcto.
After his 40-second wait, Chris joins the race as Martin hits the first special task element, a maze of national flags which the competitors must memorize from a chart and then find the correct flags with the corresponding number and letter combination. Once they've cracked the code, it's on to the next leg. As Dimitri and finally JB join the final, Martin is showing no signs of the painful leg injury that has hampered him since stage 2. Dimitri and JB both make crucial errors and forget to add the numbers together for the answer, losing valuable time. Martin is first to the kayaking section with Chris hot in his tail. With Martin's strong kayaking skills, this is his chance to increase his lead over the other 3 and put the final beyond doubt. As he heads into the sprint back through the course, Martin holds a strong lead. Dimitri has made up a little ground on Chris, making it an exciting battle for 2nd place. Chris begins to make up some ground during the run, and as Martin tackles the short mountain bike course, he has closed the margins slightly. Dimitri is trying to keep pace with Chris as JB is struggling in last place, with his illness-weakened body still giving its all. Chris is continuing to close the gap on Martin. At the end of the drive, he has made up almost 10 seconds and can easily gain more as they head into the 2nd special task section. The competitors need to place the first letter from the first name of all 18 competitors in alphabetical order. A tough thing to do with your lungs burning and heads pounding from the tough physical elements of the race. With all four competitors now onto the mental challenge and everyone struggling for the correct answer, it has suddenly become anyone's race. It's Martin who's first to break his mental block and hands his correct answer to the challenge staff. And as he starts the final run up the river to the Range Rover, he takes another look back as it starts to sink in. He is the winner of the 2006 Land Rover G4 Challenge. Chris from Belgium is second, and Jean-Baptiste from France gained one spot to take third. And after struggling with the final special task, Dimitri from Russia takes a slow walk for fourth.
Standing up there on the starting line, what sort of emotions have you gone through?
No, standing up there before the zip line, before the horn went, I was ready for it physically. I just wasn't sure what the special task was going to be. That is my biggest fear. Just my brain becoming like a scrambled egg, not being able to work it out. And the rest is history. I think this is one of the happiest moments of my life. Definitely the biggest pressure situation I've felt. This has been 4 weeks of build-up, and then coming down to one race, 25 minutes long. I mean, the feeling is incredible. Getting to the Land Rover and hitting the bonnet, thinking, I wonder if I could ever be in that position. And it's come true.
After 4 weeks of arduous competition, Martin Dreyer of South Africa has prevailed, taking victory in the challenge final over Chris Janssens from Belgium, Jean-Baptiste Calais of France, and Dimitri Tamoyin from Russia. The competitors also voted Brian Reynolds from the UK the Team Spirit Award winner.